I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. Welcome, and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Me, the Art of Starting Again. And I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. All right, so today I want to dive into something that I've been personally wrestling with. It was this question that just kept circling my heart. God, what do you want me to build? And if I'm being honest with you guys, as much as I love my independence and as much as I love to be in control, there's still a part of me that just wants that clear answer. You know, that voice inside that says, God, just tell me what to do. I got you. Like, is this the idea or is that the one? Should I start this thing or go in that direction? Should I let this go? And when I don't hear that direct answer, to be honest again, I start to catch myself spiraling. Am I missing something? Am I not listening well enough? Do I got to meditate some more? What's wrong with me? And then one day it hit me. Maybe the problem isn't that God isn't speaking. Maybe it's that I've been waiting for like the wrong type of answer. And not necessarily the wrong type of answer. I was looking for it in a particular way. I was looking for a blueprint, a step by step plan. But maybe it's not about God handing me a business model or a specific project. Maybe it's about Him reminding me of the principle behind what I built. And this is what that principle is: build something that frees you, build something that elevates others, and build something that funds your greater mission, even if the details of that mission haven't fully revealed themselves yet. So let's break this down. First, build something that frees you. So when I think about freedom, I don't just mean money, I mean space, emotional freedom, mental freedom, the freedom to breathe, the freedom to live your life without feeling chained to something that drains you. Because look, the truth is, sometimes we build things that look good on paper, but feel heavy in our spirit. We stay in jobs, relationships, businesses, or even mindsets that trap us instead of freeing us. All right, story time. So for me, that looked like when I first started my spiritual business doing like one on one readings. On one hand, it felt amazing because I finally had the freedom to set my own schedule. If I only wanted to work on Mondays, I worked on Mondays. If someone asked, like, hey, could you squeeze me in Tuesday? I got to decide on the spot whether I wanted to. That was freedom for me. And before this, because I've been an entrepreneur for a while, but I mean, to be honest, when I had my home care agency the first time, I really just created like a high paying job for myself. So it didn't really give me what I think about freedom. All right, anyhow, but so here's the other side. It also trapped me because I cared so deeply about my clients that I started carrying their emotions, their struggles, their pain, and I wanted breakthroughs for them so badly that I ended up absorbing too much. And at that time, I didn't even realize I was supposed to release that energy, let alone how to release that energy. I didn't know how to protect my own spirit. So, yes, it gave me freedom, but it also drained me. And that's the thing about freedom. It's not just about having choices, it's about whether those choices actually expand you or do they quietly start to consume you. Yeah. All right. Second, build something that elevates others. So this doesn't have to mean you're building a company, writing a book, or launching something grand. Like elevation can be as simple as leaving someone better than you found them. It could be encouraging a coworker, raising children with intention, or creating something that helps even one person feel less alone. And because real impact is about contribution, it's about using what you walk through to lift someone else up. Story time. All right. So I remember back when I had my first, well, with this podcast, it was called Seeing with Your Soul. And around that time, I was teaching workshops and classes on things like trusting your intuition, crystals, journaling. I mean, I was doing all types of different classes and stuff. And shout out to the people that have been like my OG ones. Hey guys. All right. Anyway. All right. So one day, a lady joined one of my classes, and afterwards she messaged me, or she emailed, I can't remember where she sent it, and she said, "I want to go on your retreat. How do I pay?" I was like, "Wait, what? Who is this person?" This is the first one because I had just talked about it on the podcast, right? And so anyway, so like when we finally spoke, she told me like the wildest story, because I always say like, "Oh, how were you led to me?" because I'm curious, right? And she said she was crying in her car and she was in a bad mood and she was driving on like her way to work, and then out of nowhere my podcast started playing, and she was like, "Mind you, I hate podcasts. I don't even listen to them." So I guess she had something connected that was um like streaming or whatever and connected to her car, and then a podcast came up. And she was like, "I don't even like listening to them." But she said something in her spirit told her to keep listening. And she did. And then she was like, "Oh, and it's a sister girl too." And so she was driving to like I said, she was driving to work and she was listening to it, and she said she was like crying the whole time. And even when she got to work, she was still like listening to the podcast. And she said that podcast episode led her to my class, and then which ultimately led her to my retreat. So that's not about me being strategic on marketing or anything like that. That's God connecting the dots. That's elevation. She was lifted out of a hard moment, and I was reminded that when we put that what we put out into the world really does land exactly where it's meant to be. And remember, she said, "I don't even listen, I don't even like podcasts." She actually, what she said was, "I don't even like podcasts. They're stupid." Shout out to you if you're listening. Um, and that's what I mean by building something that elevates others. It could be your presence, your voice, your courage, like your willingness to just simply create. The third thing, build something that funds your greater mission. This one's big because sometimes we want to know the whole mission up front. I mean, if you're anything like me, yeah, for sure. Show me the whole thing. Show me the whole thing so I can run the play. All right, we want the final draft, but that's not always how God works. Sometimes the mission is revealed piece by piece. The thing in front of us is just meant to fund the bigger picture later. Story time. So for me, this goes back to when I started a school. Honestly, the school itself didn't make me much money, but it carried the energy of creation, of stepping into something bigger. And because I had that school, the opportunity to start a home care agency actually landed in my lap. And when I had started that, um, kind of going off on here, just like popped in my head. But when I had started that the school, I remember after I had got everything like started and I had went to like my son's dad and was like, "All right, I need some money. Like I've been bootstrapping this and I want to hire a coach. I never had a coach before, and I needed to get a hospital bed and like some mannequins." And I had like went to him about it, and he was like, um, I mean, "I don't know how you're gonna make any money out of this, but okay." And I was like, "Me either. But I just know I'm supposed to do this, right?" I was like, "I know I'm supposed to do this." So it wasn't there to show that I was gonna make money from this school, but I knew that I needed to do it, but I just didn't know why. Now, that home care agency became a real business by my own definition. I had employees, I had clients, I had responsibility. I had between 60 and $80,000 flowing through a bank account, every month. Some clients were getting billed like $17,000, because they had 24/7 care. Like it stretched me, it challenged me, and it shaped me. And while it wasn't the forever mission, it did prepare me for so much of what I do today. If I hadn't taken that leap with the school, the home care agency never would have happened. Now, we are fast forwarding into I have that home care agency now. It's just looking a little different because I have a lot of experience and wisdom. But okay, so anyway, back to it. I started the school not knowing fully why and thinking it was one, especially once the money came into the play, because it was like, okay, you're doing this and you're going to be teaching, but you do got to make money, like, because why else are you doing it? It was like that kind of thought process in a sense, like, but God was like, "I got you, girl." So it was like the school was funding the next thing, and then the home care landed in my lap.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting. But when I say, when it led from one thing to another in a bigger mission, when I there was a co- there's a I am because no free promo. There's an agency, a company that you can get leads for your business for home care, and this is where they vet the people and then they send them out to different, I think whoever is like the rep, they have to send it out to at least 3 agencies. So you have to like, they have to accept you, blah blah blah, whatever. Well, they weren't taking any new agencies, so I couldn't get in with them to start to get like referrals. Well, this one client I had, that was the second client that I had. Um, they were really like, they loved me and they loved how they were having a hard time with the agency that they were in. Another, a caregiver that was working there told me about it, and I was like, I'm a school, right? I don't have the actual agency. She's like, yeah, but they need your help and stuff. And something in me was like, yo, figure it out. Now mind you, I had left from working a job, so I know what to do, but it's different when you're doing it for yourself. So I remember my laptop was broke. I went to the library and I was googling, because we ain't had no Chat GPT. I was googling like home care paperwork, contracts, or whatever. So I'm like finding this stuff and changing things up and then printing it there. And then I go out to the house to meet them and I have it in my head. Okay, this is what I'm gonna charge. Okay, I'm get it. So I'm talking to them and everything was great. Everything was like perfect, man, almost like too perfect. I'm like, I'm about to get a 20, no, it was a living. It was a living case. It was a living case that then ended up being 24/7 for the husband. It was a living for the mother, and then it grew into 24/7 for the husband. All right, cool. Everything is going well. I'm like, oh my God, this is, I'm about to get this big case. This is wild. And then they were like, so we have long term care insurance. Like, do you take that? And I said, oh my gosh. So tightened up. And I was like, no, actually, I'm not set up yet to accept insurance. And they were like, okay, it's fine. We'll just pay it and then get reimbursed from them. I'm like, what? That those clients carried my agency. Like it carried my agency. And it was wild because my agency then started growing and everybody that was on that case that was connected with them, they the clients treated them like they were family because of how great of care they were taking of their mother and then their father. I mean, help them out in situations that just typically just does not happen. And me not being a corporate company, that all that, I mean, I make the rules up as long as it's not crossing the lines of anything of the states. So I was fine with them doing them as long as the office knew, so everything was documented, blah blah blah. So it was great. Well, anyway, so that person, that the daughter of the client, decided to call this, the agency that you get the referrals from, and was like, this company, a Hopeful Home, she stepped in, we like love her, she was amazing, da 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 da. That company called me. Now I don't know them. Called me and was like, "Oh, I just wanted to introduce ourselves. Like we heard such great things about you and your company, and we just wanted to know if you wanted to, be a provider like with us." Mind you, their list was closed. They couldn't take. They weren't taking anymore. I was like, "Oh yeah." So I got on with them. I got every case that was sent to me. I built such strong relationships with the reps that they literally would call me and just be like, "Hey, I'm about to send this out. I still got to send it to the 3 people, of course, because they have to do that, but just giving you the heads up." And it was just beautiful. And I built such strong relationships. So when I say like you'll do the thing that will fund the thing later, like me starting this home care wasn't about me just starting a business. Plenty of people start businesses, but it grew me. It grew me as a person. Like I'm in rooms with people who were like multimillionaires running all these big companies. I mean, just the people that I was just around, the people that we were caring for. Every single client from the time I started that agency until I sold it, if the client passed away, I was at the funeral except for one because I was out of town. I'm talking about when they call a caregiver in the middle of the night and that person passed, I tell them, you call me. You have to call me. They call me. I get up. I go there. Like, and that was because just you're in your most vulnerable state when, as you are aging. And then you have family members that don't know how to navigate this and just need someone to just hold space. And I didn't even know what hold space or any of that was, but that's what I was doing. So it really like grew me and like it stretched me and it showed me just like how much bigger it was than just starting a business. I remember sitting on my bed and having all these files in my laptop, and I literally looked around and I was like, I am out of my league. I don't know what I'm doing. This is crazy. People work for me. People have this responsibility. I have a state license. I was like, this is crazy. So I went out and bought this book, and it was Business for Dummies. Because I was like, I don't know how to run a business. What am I doing? I'm billing people 17K. We had 400 hours a week, we 500 hours, 600 hours. Like, what is happening? What is happening? But that shaped me so much into who I am today. And then even when we get to when I went to sell the company, right? Um, and those of you that have been around for a while, you know the story. My best friend died December 29th, 2017. She went to sleep and she didn't wake up, right? Sent me into this whole spiraling of questioning my life, questioning life itself. What's my purpose? This whole thing, and I'm still running this company, and I'm like, I want to sell it. I don't even know how you sell it. What does that mean? Anyway, so I make the choice, the thing, and I decide that I'm gonna sell it, and I went on like soul searching, and I sold it to a really big company in Virginia that they've been around forever. So they were just like an OG in the home care. So that's who I sold it to. Well, when we had to go meet in person, we go to their thing. It was like an evening, and we walk into this big room with this long table. So it's me, and if you don't know, I'm an African American woman, and I had my two brokers with me, two white men. One was younger. He was younger than me, so I think want to say he was in his mid 20s, and then an older one. So that's us three, right? And then across from me is like five people. I mean, I'm talking about COO, CFO, CEO. I don't even remember the other two people, but these are the caliber of the people with the company, and they're sitting across from us in this long table, and it is me again, this African American woman who is a teen mom, got pregnant at 16, and I'm sitting in this room, the only woman, the only one that looked like me, the one who has a GED and was a teen mom, and y'all sitting there because y'all want to buy what I built. And I just always be like, I should have took a picture. Why didn't I have like take a picture to see this, right? But it's okay because it's forever in my heart. But that right there just showed me like the caliber of what you can do and how to not pay attention to what statistics say and naysayers, or if somebody says, I mean, I don't know how you're going to make any money, and no shade to that because he was right and I agreed. I was like, I don't know, but I need to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was so much that I gained from like that moment that they literally even said, this is the smallest acquisition that we've ever done, but we love what you built and how you built that culture, and how from day one you still have the same care providers and you don't have that turnover rate. They're like, we love what literally they're like, we love what you built. I mean, they had to let me know that what they, what I'm saying, was a little chump change to them because they were used to purchasing like in the millions, like paying millions and millions of dollars and stuff. And then here they are buying, you know, my agency. I mean, it was almost a little half. I was very proud of that, right? So yeah, again, so when I say that, build something that funds your greater mission, that's what that was. And I didn't know what the mission was. And the mission is still unfolding because I feel like it's multiple missions tied into like one journey. So like me doing that, like now when I'm going through things, because I'm human, I go through stuff too, and I start doubting and questioning myself, spirit will pop in my head and be like, yo, you don't remember what you did? You are that same person with a lot more experience and wisdom. So what's up? Go build it again. Or take the same thing that you learned in your experience and put it to the next thing. Or certain people will like call me and be like, oh man, you know what? I was just thinking, yo, you remember when you was doing da 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 da? And I'm like, okay, so spirit sent you. I get it. I get it. So that mission is still unfolding, but I created something that was funding this mission as it started to continue to, you know, as the path started to, what's the word, reveal itself. So that's what I mean by funding your greater mission. Sometimes the thing you're building isn't the final destination, it's the training ground, it's the launching pad, it's the resource that fuels the mission that you can't even see yet. So I want to turn this back to you. If you're in a rebuilding season, maybe you've been sitting there waiting for the exact instructions like your girl was. Maybe you've been paralyzed or afraid of choosing the wrong thing. But what if the question isn't what's the right business? What's the right career? What's the right step? What if the question is what can I build right now that frees me? What can I build that lifts someone else higher? And what can I build that fuels the bigger mission God is preparing me for, even if I don't see it yet? And when you ask it in this way, which is an empowering way, it shifts the pressure. So you don't need a blueprint like I was looking for. You just need to build from principle. And this isn't about like just a business. This is putting it into any area of your life. It'll still fit there. So, rebuilding is not about chasing perfection or waiting for like that absolute clarity. It's about trusting the principles, freedom, elevation, and provision. So, when you live from those, what you build will always serve a greater purpose, even if you can't see it fully in the moment. So, my encouragement to you is this: stop waiting for the exact answer. Start moving with the principle. Build something that frees you, that elevates others, and funds your greater mission, because that is the art of starting again. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Rebuilding Me, the sacred art of starting again. If this episode spoke to your soul, be sure to subscribe, leave me a review, and most importantly, share it with someone who's on their own journey of remembering who they are. And just know, you're not alone, and you never have to start from scratch. You're starting again, but this time with wisdom. Until next time, stay open, stay grounded, and trust your rebuild. And if you need help navigating this journey, make sure to visit www.tishamichelleofficial.com and book a sacred reset session.